Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video, I'm going to take a look in the Soulforge and tell you what I think are the best weapons and indeed the best troops to craft from there. Also going to take a look at this latest weekly event troop called Fristi. Let's take a quick look. Elemental Giant drains up to 20 mana from an enemy, so that's quite a lot of mana, and only uses 14 mana itself, so it can drain a lot more than what it actually needs to get started. And creates a freeze gem for every 2 mana drained. So that's a maximum amount of 10 freeze gems, which is basically blue freeze gems, can be created at the same time as well as drain that mana. Gains 1 life on 4 or 5 gem matches, immune to frozen, and summon a low storm at the start of battle can help the spell. But it sounds sort of good. I was thinking 6 out of 10, but the trouble is there's so many troops that are immune to mana drain. It's going to have no effect on them. It's rare you can have a whole team which is basically going to be immune to a mana drain, but which ones are going to be on 20 mana, and you have to wait to be able to cast that as well to get the maximum amount. You can't cast it whenever you need it. You get more benefit by casting on the full amount, and like I say, if you've got like a dangerous troop that's got 14 mana for example, then you're only going to create 7 freeze gems, which could actually help the opposition. And as well as that, even though 20 mana sounds a lot, there are so many weapons and troops now that get mana back so quickly that mana could be back on that troop in no time at all. So sounds good, maybe usable, but it's not entirely rubbish. But I'm going to say a very average 5 out of 10 for you, matey boy. Anyway, I just had a bit of bad news regarding my job at the cat sanctuary. They cut me hours. Yeah. I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about that one. They cut me hours. Me hours. Meow. Meow. Me hours. Do you see? Anyway, let's jump in the Soulforge and see what's going on in there today. We've got a holiday event today as well, the May Queen. I'll be back later on showing you my team and quick guide for how that works. But let's dive into the Soulforge. See what weapons we've got there. We have the Ice Bolt Blade, a new weapon, but don't get it from the Soulforge. Get it from the Journey event, because it's going to be in there in the shop, and much better to buy it for a few gems than it is to spend your hard-earned diamonds on it. Deals magic +4 damage to an enemy, boosted by blue allies and giant gems. We'll take a look at that later, but like I say, don't get it from here. Get it from the Journey event shop. All these other weapons, like the Eye of Zathanos, Shattered Blade, etc., are in my Soulforge extra video, because they are here all the time, so no need to keep on going over them every single week. Ice Aegis steals magic +1 attack and armor from an enemy, and if the enemy is a boss, freeze all enemies and barrier all allies. So the first part I actually quite like. Stealing attack and armor is really good. And the second part, obviously effective against bosses. The only trouble is with that freeze all enemies, some of the bosses like Zul'Goth, for example, are immune to freeze, so it's not going to actually affect them. But barrier all allies is actually pretty strong as well, so it's not a bad weapon at all. That do like that one. Doomed Hammer deals magic-based heavy splash damage to an enemy with a +4 per tempering level boost, so that can be a decent amount of damage when it's fully tempered. Stun all blue enemies, cleanse all blue allies, explode 4 gems. If the enemy has a doom, explode 3 more. So certainly useful against certain teams, like stunning all blue enemies would be good against a Queen Bee team, for example. It's just going to stun her, stop her from getting her cleanse and things like that, while cleansing your lot at the same time. So yeah, pretty usable weapon, that one. Quite like the Doomed Hammer. Axe of the Storm. Remove all blue gems. This is kind of the anti-Stormheim weapon. Takes away blue gems, which is the colour that giants generally like the most. Then deals magic-based damage to an enemy, boosted by the amount of gems removed. If the enemy is from Stormheim, or if the battle is in Stormheim, deal double damage. So yeah, pretty situational, but can be effective when used correctly. Doomed Wand creates 4 green gems +1 gem per tempering level. So very poor at the low end. If you don't temper this at all, you're going to hardly create any green gems, but at the maximum amount, you create green gems everywhere. So that's really good if you've got green allies in your team that are really powerful. So you can generate a lot of mana for them really quickly with this. And then give magic +2 armor to all the blue allies, and if the enemy has a doom, eliminate all armor from a random enemy. So yeah, pretty decent that if you need plenty of green for the rest of your team. And I'm a poet and I don't even know it. Ginormous Cleaver. Just as well it's ginormous because it's for giants. If it was small and tiny, it wouldn't be any good at all. Deals magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by Stormheim allies. Then creates a mix of 6 blue and yellow gems for each Stormheim ally. Uses purple and brown but creates blue and yellow. So make sure at least a couple of your troops in your team use blue and or yellow to make the most of all that lovely mana. Wonder Stars is here all the time and wasn't in my Soulforge extra video because it came out after that video was released. But if you have enough crafting materials, then absolutely craft it because it is absolutely superb. Fantastic weapon. Choose one. Create 6 elemental stars. Bless all allies. Or create 6 umbral stars and curse all enemies. This not just a mana creation. The fact that it's got that option of bless or curse makes it absolutely just fantastic. And it's not even just a cleanse. When you bless allies, they effectively become impervious. It's like, it's an incredible weapon. Absolutely, totally essential to craft if you can. Alright, what else we got? Crown of Horns. Explode magic +1 blue gems. Grant a random status effect to all giant allies. Then summon a giant troop. So a nice explodey, summony weapon. Do like them. Do like them a lot. Zephyros's Bolt. Magic-based scatter damage. If Zephyros is on my team, explode 5 gems. So one of those weapons which is basically making you effectively pick 2 troops, because there's no point having that on its own. There's plenty of other weapons which do more damage than that. So you need a Zephyros on your team to explode those 5 gems. But yeah, still not that great for me. Onyx Blade, quite like this one. Deals magic +4 damage to an enemy. Then convert 8 yellow gems to Uber Doomskulls. Now the cool thing about a weapon like this is sometimes the less yellow that are on the board, the more effective that it is. If for example there's 14 yellow on the board, that'd be a really bad time to cast this because you can't actually tell what 8 yellow gems are going to be converted. If there's say 7, 8 or 9 for example yellow gems on the board and you can see that they will make a 4 match with other skulls. When you cast this, then basically you can see if you can get a 4 match or not. If there's 7 or 8 or up to 8 basically, and you can see they will make a 4 match when you cast it, then you're guaranteed a 4 match and absolutely tons of damage and a lot of mana gen back as well, because the Uber Doomskulls create a larger explosion than normal, and you'll pick up some mana back at the same time. So do actually really like the Onyx Blade a lot. What else we got? The Anor Mace. Again, just as well it's a Anor Mace, because if it was tiny mace, it'd be rubbish. Another explodey summony weapon, really good. Explodes magic +1 brown gems, grants a random status effect to all giant allies, and summons a giant troop. So yeah, pretty cool. Alright, let's take a look at the troops. Same as before, all the ones that are here all the time. Not going to go over them again because they're in my Soulforge extra video. But if you're a newer player or just still missing some troops, then go through these summoning stones, take a look who's there. If you're missing any, then absolutely worth rolling the dice and cracking open a few summoning stones. Alright, let's take a look at the mythics first. Let's start at the bottom, work our way up. We have Archproxy Yvendra. Very damaging troop this. Like her a lot. Convert all yellow gems to Uber Doomskulls. So, as I was mentioning just a minute ago, if you get a alignment of 4, you get a 4 match alignment in that, when you can see those yellow are going to change to Uber Doomskulls, you can match them with normal skulls and normal Doomskulls as well, and it's going to work. So really cool. She's going to create stacks of damage. Those Uber Doomskulls, remember, create a bigger explosion area, so they can chain reaction with other Doomskulls or other Uber Doomskulls and just create so much damage it is nuts, as well as gain back loads of mana. It's like you can cast her with that and get most of your mana back straight away and do it again. She's absolutely pretty wild, and I'll do like her traits at the same time. I'll like the first one, immune to mana drain, silence, fairy fire, and web. So she pretty much gets her mana and keeps it. Very nice indeed, and conjures an Uber Doomstorm when an enemy dies. So it really helps when she starts killing people. She can just go on a bit of a rampage, can Archproxy. Fountain of Stars is actually one of those mythics that I think is better than what a lot of people give it credit for, because it just sounds a bit naff when you look at it. Converts 5 green gems to purple potions and all brown gems to skulls. Then cleanse all Fey allies. 15% chance to bless all allies when my turn begins is a bit low, and it does have reduced damage from skulls by 50%. But the thing is with this kind of weapon is the amount of mana it can generate is absolutely nuts, and you can look for it as well on that second part, all brown gems to skulls, to get a 4 match, which will guarantee you an extra turn if you're not frozen. And that convert 5 green gems to purple potions has a chance to actually match on its own, obviously. If you do what I just said, and then you cast it when you're going to get those brown gems to skulls, so you get an extra turn at the same time, you should be able to match those green gems that have changed to purple potions. And trust me, when you cast this, you can fill up, if you do it right, you can have 2 Zulgoths on your team and fill them up straight away when you cast this at the right moment. Really, really cool. So I do actually like it. It's not that usable in that many teams, but it is still usable in specialist teams, shall we say. So it does have its place. Ooh, we have the Lord of Slaughter, and indeed he is. Create 6 brown gems, then convert all brown gems to Doom Skulls. Then inflict 1 to 2 bleeds and 1 to 2 death marks on random enemies. I mean, that's pretty awesome on its own, but take a look at that third trait. 100% chance to ignore armor with skull damage is absolutely insane. And oh yeah, it's just up top, it can be absolutely damaging. It can be absolutely a wrecking machine on Guild Wars. You can have a lot of fun with the Lord of Slaughter. Who else we're missing? Jotnar Stormshield. Nah, bit naff these days. Deals magic-based true damage to an enemy boosted by barriered allies and giant allies at a ×7 ratio. Give a random ally a barrier on a 4 or 5 gem match is the strongest of the traits, so it's, yeah, he's a bit of an old one. So the power creep in the game has seen much better mythics come along since, but he's there. If you don't have him, he's there. If you don't have him, but that's pretty much the only reason to really pick him up. And that is it. And let's quickly go over the legendaries quick. The Great Maw devours an enemy. Chomp, you are gone. Then create 8 yellow and 8 brown, and 1 cast only is the only downside to this. But obviously, if you get the devour on a really dangerous opponent, it can be absolutely worth doing. But a 24 mana cost is kind of mythic level mana for a legendary troop. So yeah, it is what it is. Umber Wolf does damage to the first 2 enemies, place Hunter's Mark and Death Mark on them, then transform into a Nosferatu. Can be good in certain ways. Who else we got? Talonborn. Do like Talonborn. Does magic-based damage to an enemy, then entangle them and pull them to the front. So you can damage them, pull them to the front and entangle them. So no damage from skulls, but the cool thing is, deal triple skull damage versus entangled enemies. So you put them to the front entangled, and then are going to get that triple skull damage. And he's pretty good up top as well, because it's immune to all status effects, which is really cool. So no root trap in this dude and things like that. And as well as that, you get reduced damage from skulls by 33%. So yeah, very cool troop that one. I do like it. And lastly, we have Firenza. Yeah, I like this one. This is cool. Damage to all enemies boosted by Fairy Fire gems, then summon a Summon Knight. So damage to all boosted by Fairy Fire gems, and she creates 1 Fairy Fire gem when my turn begins, which is green. And she uses green, so you're going to be matching them anyway when you can. And of course, Fairy Fire, you get an extra 50% damage to those troops afflicted by Fairy Fire, which again helps her spell. And she has a summon. So yeah, she's very nice indeed. I do like Firenza. Right, I think that is it. But who gets my mythic of the week? Well, it's not going to be Jotnar, that is an absolute certainty. It's absolutely between the Lord of Slaughter and Archproxy Yvendra. But just because he's so reliable, and because of that awesome third trait, and the spell is absolutely lethal, I have to give it to the Lord of Slaughter. Absolutely superb. Totally suggest getting the Lord of Slaughter. You will not regret it. Absolutely fantastically good and damaging troop. But there it is. There's the Soulforge review video for today. I'll be back later on with my Underspire teams, the journey event, and crikey, the May Queen holiday event as well. So much going on today. Manic Monday indeed. But there it is. If you found this video useful or helpful, it'd be really cool if you bash that like and subscribe button. It really does help. But most of all, thanks for watching. I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.